The Great Wealth Migration, Gold, Power, and the End of an Era. Human finance has never witnessed a wealth migration as massive or as silent as the one happening today. When you look at the digital tickers and see gold prices constantly breaking all-time highs, do not assume it is simply because of inflation or war. Those are just surface-level reasons. Deep beneath, a geopolitical earthquake is shifting the world. Eastern powers, led by China and Russia, have launched an all-out campaign to break free from the grip of the US dollar. Gold has evolved from a simple piece of jewelry or a safe haven asset into a nuclear weapon in this currency war. Welcome to the Forbidden Files, where we reveal the truths that society chooses to ignore. Eyes wide open. Real gold versus the paper trap. To understand why gold prices are skyrocketing, we must first understand a concept that big Wall Street banks always try to hide. Paper gold. Imagine walking into a restaurant and buying a steak voucher. The restaurant promises that whenever you present that voucher, they will serve you a steak. But here is the problem. The restaurant only has one steak in the kitchen, yet they have printed and sold 100 vouchers to 100 different people. They gamble on the belief that all 100 people will never show up to eat at the same time. This is exactly how Western markets, like the COMEX in the US and the LBMA in the UK, have operated for decades. Paper gold consists of futures contracts and ETFs, where people trade numbers on a computer screen without ever touching a physical bar of gold. In the financial world, it is estimated that for every single ounce of physical gold in a vault, there are dozens, if not hundreds, of paper ounces circulating in the market. This system works smoothly as long as everyone trusts the paper. But when that trust vanishes and people demand physical delivery, the house goes bust. And that is exactly what is beginning to happen. The Shanghai Gold Exchange, a direct hit from China. Recognizing the fragility and the magic tricks of Western markets, China made a master move. They established the Shanghai Gold Exchange, SGE. What is the core difference? The SGE is 100% physical. In Shanghai, if you buy gold, you pay real cash and you receive physical gold bars with clear serial numbers, stored in transparent vaults. China is sending a message to the world. Throw away the paper scraps of the West. Come here and hold real value. By doing this, China is slowly stripping the US of its power to price gold. Previously, global prices were dictated by giants in New York and London through paper trades. Now, the money is flowing to Shanghai, where physical gold prices are consistently higher than Western paper prices. This is the beginning of a massive exodus. The gold drain and the power of arbitrage. Why are gold vaults in the US and UK emptying? The answer lies in a financial term called arbitrage, profiting from price differences. As mentioned, gold in Shanghai is often $$50 to $$100 higher per ounce than in New York. Smart investors and central banks have spotted a lucrative opportunity. They use USD to buy cheap paper gold contracts on the COMEX or LBMA. Instead of settling for cash as usual, they insist on physical delivery. Once they receive the gold bars from Western vaults, they ship them directly to Shanghai to sell at the higher price. This act functions like a high-powered pump, sucking gold out of Western underground vaults and pouring it into the East. The US and UK are trapped. If they refuse to deliver the gold, the credibility of their exchanges collapses instantly. If they do deliver, their reserves will eventually run dry. To stop this drain, Western exchanges have started using dirty tricks, increasing storage fees, raising shipping costs, requiring complex paperwork, or only allowing withdrawals of massive amounts, e.g., 100 ounces or more. There are even reports of the US leasing gold from India just to fill empty vaults so that inspectors and investors still see shiny bars. But leased gold is still debt. It is a band-aid on a bleeding wound. 5,000 tons. China's de-dollarization strategy. China's official gold holdings are always a mystery. Official reports say they hold over 2,000 tons. However, independent analysts looking at import-export data and domestic mining output believe the real number could be over 5,000 tons, perhaps even more. Why hide the gold? In Chinese military strategy, there is a saying, all warfare is based on deception. China does not want to alert the market too early. If they announced they were hoarding thousands of tons, the price would spike uncontrollably, making their accumulation too expensive. They continue to buy quietly through state-owned banks and sovereign wealth funds without reporting it to the PBOC, central bank, reserves. Their ultimate goal isn't just profit. It is survival and the overthrow of the old world order. The fall of the petrodollar. After World War II, the US dollar became the boss of the world through the Bretton Woods system and later the petrodollar. Any nation wanting to trade internationally had to use USD, giving the US an unprecedented, exorbitant privilege, printing money to buy the world's goods. China and Russia saw the fatal flaw in this. When the US froze $$300 billion of Russia's foreign reserves after the Ukraine conflict, the world woke up. It turns out USD is not your asset. It is a privilege that the US allows you to use. If you don't follow their rules, they flip a switch and your wealth disappears. This was the final straw. China realized that to be a true superpower, they could not leave their economic lifeblood in the hands of a rival. Gold is the only exit. Gold belongs to no nation, cannot be frozen by Washington, and has undeniable intrinsic value. The new commodity-based order, BRICS and gold. China is not alone. Russia is their key ally. If China is the world's factory, Russia is the world's gas station and resource vault. Together, they are creating a self-sufficient economic system. They have begun settling oil and gas trades in yuan or rubles instead of USD. But why would other countries accept yuan? This is where gold comes in. China is setting up a mechanism where nations holding yuan can convert them directly into gold at the Shanghai Gold Exchange. This is a new gold standard, Gold Standard 2.0. It creates trust. Hold our currency. If you don't trust it, we have real gold to back it up. The BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and new members, now represent over 40% of the world's population and a massive share of global GDP. They are discussing a common currency backed by a basket of commodities, with gold at the center. If this succeeds, the demand for USD will plummet. When nations no longer need dollars to buy oil, they will sell off their massive holdings of US treasuries. When that happens, a financial catastrophe will hit the United States. Why gold prices will keep rising. People ask, gold is so high, will it crash? To answer that, you must understand the relationship between gold and currency. Gold isn't getting more expensive. The currency is losing its value. An ounce of gold today buys roughly the same amount of high-end clothing or food as it did in ancient times. What changes is the purchasing power of paper money. When central banks print money endlessly to cover debts, every dollar in your hand is diluted. Imagine a bowl of soup. The government keeps pouring in plain water but charges you the same price. Gold is the scale that measures how watered down your soup has become. Gold at $$3,000 or $$5,000 doesn't mean gold is more precious. It means the USD is becoming monopoly money. The US is carrying over $35 trillion in debt. The annual interest alone now exceeds the defense budget. They have only two choices: default, which destroys the global system, or print more money to pay the debt. They are choosing to print. This causes inflation, and you, the citizen, pay the price through rising costs. Gold is the enemy of public debt. As debt grows, trust in currency falls and gold rises. The harsh truth about your wallet. Economists talk about 2% or 5% inflation. But honestly, has your cost of living only risen 5%? Inflation is a hidden tax. If you have $$1 billion in the bank at 6% interest, but real inflation, housing, food, energy is 10%, you are losing 4% of your purchasing power every year. You are getting poorer quietly. This is why the global elite and central banks hold gold. Gold doesn't pay interest, but it preserves purchasing power. We are entering a long period of high inflation. The factors that kept inflation low for 30 years, globalization, cheap Chinese goods, and cheap Russian energy, are over. The world is dividing. Nations are rearming and rebuilding supply chains, which is incredibly expensive. In this storm, paper money will continue to melt, and gold will be the only lighthouse. Survival in the new order. This is not about causing panic. It is about facing reality. The world we knew for the last 40 years, a peaceful era under the shadow of the USD, is changing fast. Don't just look at the numbers. Look at the essence. When you see gold rising, don't just jump in because of FOMO, fear of missing out. Buy it because you understand it is insurance against a failing financial system. The question isn't, will gold hit $$3,000? The question is, how much longer can the current monetary system stand? Understand physical assets. In a world of digital illusions, owning something real, gold, productive real estate, or personal skills, is vital. Global diversification. Don't put all your eggs in one currency basket. Watch the capital shift from west to east. Financial education. This is your strongest weapon. When you understand how the world works, you are no longer a sheep led by the headlines. Gold has been money for over 5,000 years. Unbacked paper money has only existed since 1971, a mere blink in human history. The great experiment of fiat money is reaching its conclusion. What China and Russia are doing isn't new. They are simply returning the world to the fundamental laws of economics. Value lies in what cannot be printed. Western vaults may empty, the USD may lose its throne, and inflation may erode the wealth of many. But for those who understand this geopolitical game, this is not the end. It is the beginning of a new order where real value reigns supreme. Gold's massive rise is not a temporary trend. It is the alarm bell for the end of an era. We cannot change the flow of history, but we can choose to stand firm through knowledge and preparation. The truth is always there, but not for everyone.